best immediately fell into war with each other. Fatima, Muhammad's favorite daughter, survived the early years among the unbelievers at Mecca, safe and sound, yet died of stress from persecution of fellow Muslims only 6 months after her father died. She even miscarried Muhammad's grandchild after having her ribs broken by the man who became the second Caliph. It was the same Caliph, Omar, who ordered. Sure. But I mean, I'm not finished. Yeah, but let's go ahead.
That's fine. I'm just curious what religion you are as you finish.
My religion. My religion is humanism. Humanism is the best religion.
Perfect. Go ahead.
Yeah, and Muhammad directed Muslims to wage war on other religions and bring them under submission to Islam. Within the first few decades following his death, his Arabian companion invaded and conquered Christian, Jewish, Hindus, Buddhist, and Zoroastrian land. A mere 25 years after Muhammad's death, Muslims' armies had captured land and people within the borders of over 40 modern countries outside of Saudi Arabia. Muslims continued their jihad against other religions for 1400 years, checked only by ability of non-Muslims to defend themselves. Islam is the only religion that has to retain membership by formally threatening to kill anyone who leaves the religion. Islam teaches the non-Muslims are less than the fully human. So me and you and everybody are less than human.
No, I don't think
beings.
so.
Muhammad said.
He knows
Muhammad
this.
said that Muslims. Let me finish it this quick. This is left. Muhammad said that Muslims can be put to death for murder, but that the Muslim could never be put to death for killing a non-Muslim. The Quran never once speaks of Allah's love for non-Muslims, but it speaks of Allah's cruelty towards and hatred of non-Muslim more than 500 times. And number 10 is Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, the last word from cockpit of Flight 93. Go ahead, my friend.
Well, I was going to ask you, are you reading that offline, or is that through your memory? Were you used to be a Muslim?
No, I mean, I'm just reading it from the, my, Microsoft 360.
Okay. So you're a humanist. So would you consider yourself also a materialist? Do you believe in science solves all our questions? There's really no God out there?
Humanism, I mean, is God. Yes, there is God. There is a superior power, or whatever you want to label it, is out there.
Let me ask you a question, friend. Let me ask you this question. If there's a God out there, how do we identify him? Is there a way to identify him anyway?
Okay, it's like a wave of radio. Like you have a radio right now, you turn it on, you don't see the radio wave, but radio wave counts. Suppose you take the station's so number, and you listen to the music, news, or same as the CNN or whatever it is. You may not see it, but it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Go ahead, my friend.
Okay. Well, okay. Let me say this. So I know somebody. I've talked to somebody who says it's okay. His God allows him to starve children because if he starves his child and feeds his own God, which is this cow, that's acceptable. Okay. So I guess my question to you is, if we can't identify a particular God, and let's just say there's multiple gods, that answer was sort of roundabout. I'm not sure. Maybe you can identify, maybe you can. But the question is, should we know who this God is, and should we know what we should do to behave if it's his rules?
again, I mean, I'm not here to discuss religion or humanism or God versus no God with you guys. I mean, I'm just here to add to your knowledge what we were talking about Bangladesh, what happened, etc. But I mean, if you want really my opinion, I mean, every one of us are agree and accept it. I mean, there is nothing wrong and there is no false. I mean,
Okay, go ahead.
So if you want, I mean, but I mean, we're talking about the Christian God. It's different. I mean, we're talking about Buddhist God. That's different. Or Hindu God. That's different. What we are talking. But if you want to talk about Allah, then you already know what I said. You know that what Allah, is in Islam.
Yeah. Does Allah exist? Does Allah exist?
Does Allah exist? I mean, you can ask a Muslim listener of yours. Come and tell us that. Let's hear it from them. Then I tell you.
You're picking up there. I didn't hear what he said.
I said, let one of your listeners call in and tell about that.
Okay, but let me try to ask it in a different way. So, are you implying, okay, that we all have our own paths, if you will, to God, and that's okay with you to have your own path to God?
I mean, I'm talking about, we're talking about the God in English. We talked about God. I mean, Christian God is different with the Islam God.
Okay, they're all different, but my question is which one of them is true? Right, I know they're different. Yeah, which one's true? Is there one that's true?
I mean, it's up to you. I mean, it's up to you guys to find the truth.
Well, okay. Do you think there should be something repping that? Because what if my truth is different than your truth? Is my truth invalidated because your truth overrides mine? I mean, how does that work? If I believed in the flying spaghetti monster, or that's a real religion out there. Supposing I believed in the flying spaghetti monster,
Pastafarian.
Does he really exist? Does he really exist?
I think you lost it with the Pastafarian.
I think no, he lost his connection. I hope he'll come back.
That was good.
From the way
From
the way he was speaking and pronouncing his words, I would say that at one point he definitely was a practicing Muslim.
No. He was, from what I gathered, he was probably from Bangladesh, and it was a different religion. But he came, not Bangladesh. Where was that killing today?
In Bangladesh.
Yeah, that's where he was from.
Oh, is that what he said? Well, he said it's a beautiful country. He didn't say he was from there.
He knew too much about it, so I'm assuming he was from there originally. And I don't know, but he sure didn't seem to like the Muslim too much. They were doing this.
Well, I mean, how can you when you see what's going on? And like I said, look, I happen to believe, I know Chad said no, but I happen to believe that the moderate Muslims have to do more to speak up against this, okay? And by remaining quiet, all that does is sanction what's going on. They can say it's terrible, okay? But,
Mark,
yeah.
Mark, they have to be consistent. They're not consistent. They're not reading Quran 356. They're ignoring it. They're not reading Quran 3:151, Quran 4:74, Quran 4:76. I mean, I'll just keep going on and on and on. If they're going to pick apart piece beautiful parts of the Quran and then ignore the harsher end of the Quran, then they're not being consistent. That invalidates their religion tenfold. Not a true religion. It's a false religion. You know, we could say all we want about the radical, and believe me, they are doing some pretty horrific things. But let me tell you something. They're being consistent with the Quran. They're doing exactly what Allah wants them to do. This unpersonal, evil God, who I would never worship. The God from the Bible is the true and only one living God in this entire planet. He is the one who made the heavens and the earth. And he says Allah is not true. In fact, you can read that in Isaiah 44, verse 6, and Isaiah 45. He goes, I do not know of any other God. God the Father in the Bible says, I don't know of any other God. So there can't be two gods. And certainly Allah is this very strange, impersonable God that, quite frankly, is completely inconsistent in the Quran. Don't get trapped in it. It's an evil, false system. Along with a lot of other evil, false systems, it is right up there. It's not even close to being a true faith. It's bad.
It's very interesting. I watch every now whenever I can this Jewish broadcasting system, and one of the things the rabbi spoke about was in the Ten Commandments when it's written, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." If you were talking about a society that only believed in one God, then it should read, "Thou shalt have no other God," period. Not before me, because the two words "before me" connotes the fact that, well, some people, you may, at one point, man was not, monotheistic, and this could even go back to Abraham's time. People probably believed in more. Yes, Abraham had a covenant with God, but people back then had many gods. And in the Ten Commandments it says, "Thou shalt have no other God before me." In other words, I'm the one. I'm the supreme. I'm the chief, is what he's saying.
That's right. Right, you had a lot of religions bleeding into the Hebrew people. They were starting to even worship Moloch at one point, which is an evil Canaanite god that would sacrifice babies.
That's right.
These priests, these Moloch priests, would burn babies alive to the harvesting of their people. And they would also have sex with animals and with children. I mean, it was an evil civilization. Guys, let me share something with you.
Since the Hebrew people had, for the most part of their history, been dominated by other religions with many gods, out of assimilation, they had adopted some of those gods, which of course angered God Almighty, because that was a definite, it's the first commandment: "Thou shalt have no other gods before me."
Yeah. Well, guys, this is going on your point, Mark. Okay, this is what God says through Paul in Romans chapter 1, because that what they knew about God, they glorified Him not as God, neither were thankful, but became vain in their imaginations, and their foolish hearts was darkened. Professing themselves to be wise, they became fools. Now listen to this. This is verse 23 of Romans 1. And they changed the glory of the uncorruptible God into the image made like corruptible man and to birds, and to four-footed beasts,